Now we're on.
So
I said it.
there we go. Welcome to the Mead, Metal, and MMA podcast. As you might be able to figure out, it's our St. Patrick's Day edition.
Oh, hi-de-di-di-di-di-di-di-di-di.
All right, that's enough of that. Shoot that shit down. Okay. So anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day to those of you that are from Ireland, which according to the last estimate is pretty much everybody on planet Earth.
That's right.
Claims it. So kind of like the whole thing of like people that were at Woodstock.
I want to see your Ancestry.com papers, motherfucker.
It's like they said, like if actually the people all said they were at Woodstock were actually at Woodstock, there would have been 5 million people there. Same with Irish lineage.
That's
You're
right.
Like, I've got a little Irish in me. No, you don't.
And what better way to kick things off than with some rye whiskey from Indiana?
Well, yeah, we got that. That's the good part.
To health.
And Guinness, obviously, we had to do that. Making Guinness pie. Had 2 leftover bottles, so that's obviously what we're going to wet our whistle with this week, which is important to note.
Wow.
I do have, good God.
I'm sorry, dude. That rye whiskey just like fucking hit that green chili cheeseburger. It's like, oh, it's time to fight.
There it is, as we see with most Irish folk. Anyway, I do have an apology to throw out there. Somebody pointed out last week, said, you sound a little more on the serious side. Were you angry? No. I was sober. And I promise that will never happen again, my friends.
He was channeling his inner David Muir. He was doing quite well.
And by the way, they're not sponsoring this week's podcast, but props to Bullet Rye Whiskey, because that's kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you like Jameson's, Tullamore, Irish whiskeys, it's got a really similar kind of an edge to it, this particular rye. It's got a weird spice that I can't quite put my finger on.
And it's good shooting whiskey.
It's good sipping whiskey. I mean, it's good for...
Covers all the spectrum, really.
Good for all that ails you. So, nonetheless, though, welcome to this week's podcast where we talk about our 3 favorite things, Mead, Metal, and MMA. And we usually shoot them down in order like that. The Mead side of it, we're pretty much Runestone still underway. Probably might have an update on upcoming batches. Probably not next week, probably the week after.
Yeah, now that everything's warming up, it's time to start discussing everything. All things that are good on the Mead realm. But
yeah.
Runestone bubbling along nicely. And
actually, Brandon has an update on one of the batches from November, because obviously Mead gets better the more age you get on it.
Yeah, that long ships, while it's still, because that alfalfa honey is pretty sweet, the oak is really starting to jump out.
Yeah, that's worthwhile. That's for sure. So anyway, I think we have.
And that troublemaker is still doing good.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll have much of that left because Brandon's kind of been.
Hey.
But then again, we're our own paying customers.
That's
anyway,
right.
So
it's
not like I'm throwing a fit about it.
Yeah, and I mean, Troublemaker has always been my favorite, and I was bummed out that I only got about 6 bottles out of the last batch. So I'm kind of rectifying that this year by just if there's one out there on a Thursday, I'm going to buy it.
One of the questions we had: how's it stack up to other meads on the market? I don't know because, frankly, I've never had other meads outside of Redstone up in Boulder. How's ours stack up? Just fine. It stacks up the same as any other mead.
Yeah. Is any small run mead,
Sure.
I mean,
small batches are going to have, you get all your flavors off the notes from the honey. Pretty much the yeast is a very big factor. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about going a little bit of a different direction on the next batch that we do with that, but we'll see. It depends because we start getting into the warmer months. That's good news for some things, bad news for others. We can't use liquid yeast. We can't get it from March till October because, frankly, it's usually a furnace down here. So
yeah, I think because when did we use liquid yeast last?
We'd used that on an original batch one that we had done, and that was pretty much the last time that we'd used it.
We'd only used it that one time.
From White Labs, and I think that. Personally, I think that liquid yeast, if utilized properly, if it's been stored properly and delivered properly, I think is absolutely superior. However, trying to get your hands on it is something else wholly different. So.
Yeah, that might be something to revisit if we have an opportunity.
Yeah, no, I would. Well, that's one of the reasons really we need to make a trip over to Lubbock. They do have a homebrew supply store over there. It's just trying to get me and you at the same time off on a Saturday is a little bit near impossible.
Especially if there's drinking to be done.
Well, especially when one of us doesn't rise before the crack at 2.
That's what it's like being a vampire, my friend.
But anyway, I think that's good for the Mead side of it this week. There's not a lot else going on. We're going to get a couple of batches started because one of them we need to do probably here pretty soon. April's just around the corner. What I would like to do is to be able to get commit one to being essentially like a straight batch until we hit secondary, and then start this year's edition of Green Man.
Yeah. Oh, cannot wait for that.
Which, and you might look at it and say, God, it's only March. Green chili isn't available wholesale here in New Mexico until you start getting into late July or at the earliest, but maybe August. That's okay, because it will at least be able to have the primary and the early secondary
to get that
phases.
initial shit done.
Yeah, and it helps the meat in the long run. I really do. I mean, time is, frankly, I mean, if time was not an issue, I would love to be able to put a batch together and let it sit for 2 years before the public even gets around to it. But that's just not the reality.
Speaking of time, that's my segue into the metal part. Did you like that? Did you like that? That was good, right?
Good. That's a pretty good
Thank you.
segue.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's go ahead and start off with it. Wintersun Watch. We're going to call this week 3.
This is like our moneymaker kind of thing, because
this is like,
people really didn't give a shit about this podcast.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, fuck, these guys are talking shit about Wintersun, or oh, fuck, another guy that agrees with my views of the whole Wintersun Indiegogo campaign.
Which is the majority of people.
Yeah, I think the people, the ones that fucking hated us, which, by the way, thank you very much, everyone that hates us. You gave us podcast views of over 100. I love you all. You're beautiful.
Still no comments.
That's fine. Obviously, they just don't know how to type. They just know how to click that thumb down. That's cool. That's all right. Of course, the next week, I feel like everyone that came back, or everyone that listened to the first one, came back for the second one that agreed. Those are the ones that came back.
Yeah.
So, and thank you to you guys as well. Yeah, they are at $290,000, backed by 5,802 people. I'm gonna guess about fucking 100 of those have donated twice, because why not, right? Why not give Wintersun more of your money for absolutely nothing?
So they're nearly at 300,000 euros, and they need to get ultimately to 750.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I still want to see how that second leg goes. Now, if that thing hits $250,000 in a week, like this one did.
Well, this one they're just going to roll over anything over 150,000 to another one.
Oh yeah, I mean they're gonna. It's not like they're gonna hit $750,000 and be like, okay, we're done. That's good. We got what we need. And bring that shit in. Keep her coming.
Is it weird that I almost want to be a donator just so Jari will shut up?
He'll never shut up.
Well, that was,
especially now. His master plan, his evil master plan, is working. From that fucking volcano in Helsinki underground. This whole thing, his Dr. Evil plan is working.
Yeah. Does he have a son by the name of Scott?
I don't know. I think that drummer kind of pulled that off nicely.
Oh, Kai, yeah.
Yeah. But, Nuclear Blast should be looking at this like, we're losing money now. They are losing money.
Well, because the only people that are going to be interested are the ones that are going to be crowd backers. So when Nuclear Blast ends up putting out the CD, the physical CD that nobody is going to get, the backers. No one's getting anything physical.
All these backers are not. I mean, I'm sure, I'll say maybe 1 out of every 10 will get the album.
Yeah, but you're right. Nuclear Blast is, they're actually, the label is kind of, the band is kind of taking money out of their pocket. Talk about something in reverse, right?
Yeah, because they're still talking about like, hey, if we get this done, we can just release music ourselves. They're basically saying, once we get this done, fuck you, Nuclear Blast. We want out. Finish whatever album deal they have, because 4 Seasons is going to count as one off that the contract. So after that, you assume time 2.
There's a musician out of, not out of Helsinki, but somewhere else in Finland. Read his tweet this past week, and he's absolutely right on his comments, is that, hey, why don't you get out and work really hard like everybody else does and play a bunch of stadium shows and festivals, and voila, you're at 750,000 euros before you know it.
Was that Sorvali?
No.
Wow. Has he chimed in yet?
No.
Oh, Henry Sorvali, we want to hear from you.
Well, you can't turn your back on your kinsman. You kind of.
Well, I'd still like to hear his opinion on it, even if it is.
No. This
positive.
guy's a guitar player for. It's a minor band over there, but yeah.
Someone having to work their asses off to get what they
Yeah, well, it makes sense. Every other band on planet Earth has got to do that. You go out, you apply your craft, you try to put out some good shit that people are going to enjoy. You try to figure out a way to bring that to a live audience. And you start getting, headlining festivals and things like that, like they should be doing. They headline,
and they can do it.
They headlined like 3 or 4 last year.
Yeah, and Jari has really cut his workload down live a lot.
You have got
this guy's turned into Axl Rose.
Ooh.
especially on live aspects of the show. I mean, it's like, no, I'm not going to be playing guitar live no more. What I do is just so complicated and difficult to sing as well. I just want to be able to focus on singing and performing. Really?
That guy.
That's where we're getting this emphatic, like, fist Jari. You know, like, oh, fist Jari. Yeah, let's get that trending on Twitter.
Yeah. Hashtag fist Jari. Yeah.
Hashtag Jari hand puppet. But, I mean, again, this whole thing is wrong. It's setting a very awful precedent for other bands. They're starting to look at their record label now and be like, well, if they're doing that, why can't we do that? Seems like they're doing really well.
It is just maybe the most annoying thing we've probably encountered. Now, they're going to do it. They'll probably do it. I have no doubt in my mind, because even if they get even halfway, then you know that they're going to be able to pull something else off, probably. But it's for me to see a band. Look, now, is this the new paradigm? Is that the way everybody's going to do it now? Is they're going to?
Yeah, record label's just going to be fucking obsolete. Everything they're going to do everything in house. I don't think so.
Probably not. By the way, our podcast sponsor this week is Nuclear Blast Records. They announced the upcoming release of the Forest Seasons from Wintersun. You know what? We don't need the sponsor this week. We'll go ahead and drop that one.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves. Now, I was digging on YouTube last night over here and stumbled across.
That's because I now have like modern society.
Yeah, we actually got some internet going on at the Mead Hall here. It's great. And we stumbled across a few Pallbearer tracks, actually all of them on YouTube.
Well, it was advanced release tracks is what we would probably say.
Well, somebody got a hold of them, and of course, first thing they do is they rip it and put it on the internet or YouTube. And while we were looking for Thorns last night, stumbled across the rest of the album.
I would say, I don't know. We operate some different scales. You and I. You kind of go on a 5-star system. I go on a 100-point system.
Yeah, you go that weird school shit. I just go on like the Ebert. Well, no, Ebert just like either I liked it or I didn't.
The things on Pallbearer's new record coming out, which by the way is getting released 1 week from today. I would say the ones that are good will absolutely blow your mind. I think,
and there gosh, I'd say 6, 7 out of the 9 tracks on the album. I think it is 9 tracks.
I would say 6 of them. 6 of them are game changers. I would say. Now there are 2 that it's going to take me a little bit to get my head around. I mean, when certain bands are really. I don't know. Actually, I think one of the things kind of indicative, if it's a band I really like, they put out a new record, it takes me a while to get around to it sometimes. If they do something that's very different and it challenges my listening ability as a fan.
Right.
Which basically used to be every Rush album that would come out after 1983.
Yeah, I think it's Dancing in Madness and the title track, Heartless, has some seriously aggressive vocals.
Yeah, something that
aggressive
really by
for
surprise.
Pallbearer.
Right.
You know, you hear that and you're like, "Whoa, motherfucker! This is certainly different."
Yeah.
And,
no, I mean, if you're listening to Uncle Acid, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But for Pallbearer, where they're usually a very smooth, straightforward, heavy effects on vocals,
right?
This is it gets a little aggressive a couple of times in 2 different tracks.
But that final fucking song, Plea for Understanding,
pulls it all together.
Beautiful. Fucking 12 minutes of fucking just, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, because, I wouldn't want to have to compare it to something else. Like Ash, this is one of my favorite ballads.
Sure.
That last track is very ballady.
Yeah.
But not the whole track.
No, it's like Pallbearer, everything they can do in one song.
Yeah. No, it's legit. So we got excited about that. We'll talk more about that next week.
Which I gave 4.5 stars.
I'm at about an 85 on that one, I guess.
Hey, last night, you were kind of drunk. You said that last song bumped it up to a 90.
No, I think I said 80 and it bumped it to an 85.
Oh, you had him at a B? Now B minus? Now it's just straight up B?
Maybe you were a little drunk last night.
Well, I was. That's why I gave 4.5. Now I'm sober. Give that shit 5.
But we'll talk about it again next week. And frankly, yeah, we've got access to it, I'm going to buy it. Because
Yeah,
frankly,
I want the FLAC 4K version, like what Wintersun is promising. Everything's 4K, 5K. It's great.
Actually, you know what's interesting? You can go 1 week from today, go and buy it, and you'll have a physical copy in your hand, which you Wintersun folks will not have that opportunity.
Enjoy making your own Wintersun mixes, everybody.
Because
that's what you're paying extra money to do is sit in your room and fucking make your own Wintersun mixes like you always wanted to do, apparently.
There was a jackass on the comments on Indiegogo. Now I can isolate the track so I can sing along.
You mean I get the stems? I get to hear my own voice of Land of Snow and Sorrow? Oh. Yes, you do, son. And I hope you enjoy that $50. But actually, it might be $150. There might be other instrumental versions that you can just create your own shit. Oh, how cool.
It's, I don't know. I was going to comment on Mastodon. They have 3 tracks out on that one.
Yeah.
I didn't get an advance on that. But I will say I usually need a little bit of time for something. If I don't care for it, I've got to give it time and then go back and see if I'm right or wrong on my initial thoughts. My initial thoughts, there are 3 tracks out that Mastodon has cranked out. I have no idea how many are going to be on this next record. I haven't seen a track listing yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen one yet either. I'm sure it's out there, but I haven't seen it.
There's one track that's on it that is outstanding, and I believe that's going to be the first track, the Sultan of Sand, I think, is it?
Sultan's Curse.
Sultan's Curse. Outstanding track. There's another one that came out that I really, really enjoy, but there's another one. They just released a video yesterday.
Yeah.
Our friend Ruben, who's been on the podcast, tagged us both.
Oh, yeah, the Show Yourself video.
I thought about it. And
I figured that'd be one he liked, too. That would be the one he loved.
You're right. That's not a good track.
It's very poppy. It's very poppy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when you hold it up to Andromeda and Sultan's Curse, it's at the bottom of the list on those 3 so far.
Now, then again, a lot of times doom metal bands like to put out, a project that is start to finish. And you kind of have to test the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's how Heartless is.
Yeah, exactly. But now I think that might very well be how that
Yeah, because this is really all concept album kind of telling a tale
the first
beginning
time.
to end.
Yeah, that's what they'd said. The big difference that they have ever done on anything else. This whole thing is a concept album. So maybe where it falls at the right spot.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see. That one comes out on the 31st.
As a standalone, maybe in the whole package, hearing it beginning to end, it might actually hold its own.
We'll probably get an advance on that and report back on that next week.
And not to forget, on our big mysterious Season of Woe track we've been working on since last year, Brogus Drawl's job is done. Rhythm guitar is laid in. Vocals are done. Now all we got to do is put down some sweet lead licks and
I have to remember how to go back and play leads out of A minor. So kind of
and harmony and your harmonies, and that thing will be out.
Right. So we'll stand by for that because we'll have that. Likely as not, I don't know, maybe by next week after, something like that. I do know that we're. I want to get that one done.
And I'm going to put out the stems, so if people want to download it and make their own remix, they want to take my vocals out and replace it with their own, you can do that. It's only going to cost you $50, so that's
Christ
it.
Almighty, Jari fans are going to find out, where you're your daily.
Well, now
schedule.
I'm just doing my best to engage in dialogue with one of them.
Right,
but they don't want to come out and play with me.
No, it's because they, they get their feelings hurt pretty easy.
Yeah, it's sad.
That is it for the mead and metal portions. Let's move to MMA.
Who's excited for a Saturday afternoon card? Not this guy, especially with it being fucking Patty's right now.
Yeah, kicks off 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time here in the States because it's over in jolly old England. And, it features such big names. Big names. Jimmy Manuwa, who's best known for getting crumpled by Rumble.
And, maybe more positively known for beating OSP. Let's look at that silver lining in the Manuwa realm.
But also Brad Pickett's going to retire.
Yeah, Joseph Duffy on the card. Actually, Brad Pickett going against Marlon Vera. I do like to watch, if that is going to be his last fight, I do like to see the send-off, especially of a veteran fighter like Brad Pickett. But I'm looking at this card, and again, just because there are a lot of names on here we don't recognize, I'm sure there are some kick-ass fucking fighters on this card.
Oh, sure.
But if you're just looking at it on paper, you got Leon Edwards, a name I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
Joseph Duffy, Brad Pickett, Marlon Vera, Joe Ban, and Gunnar Nelson. Now, Gunnar Nelson, that co-main might be fucking a pretty good fucking co-main event.
Maybe. The problem with Gunnar Nelson's been is whenever he's fought somebody that's been relatively good, he generally gets pummeled.
Well, actually, Gunnar, I think you might have Gunnar confused with someone else.
No, because, I mean, everybody always looks at it and goes, oh, yeah, this is the guy that trains with Conor McGregor. Yeah. And he gets embarrassed on a big
He's
stage.
been back and forth. Yeah, I mean, he lost to Damian Maia by decision. Maia was not able to shut him down. Went and beat Brennan Thatch, lost to Rick Story. Recently just beat Albert Timonoff. Subbed him neck crank. Ooh, that was painful.
Yeah.
Outside of, well, shit, the whole UFC run has not been what you would call mind-blowingly excellent.
Right.
But I think Gunnar Nelson could really have a surge here. And Alan Jouban, another vet.
Who, by the way, did really well the other day. He had some kind of like an embedded thing or whatever the UFC does. Did a pretty good job with it. He's really good for cameras.
Yeah. Fighting out of Associated, 10th Planet. Is your bruh. Is your bruh. Lost to Albert Timonoff. Rocking a 3-win streak, though. But the names on here.
Honestly, you're not going to make me care about anything until April 5th.
This is really what I'm doing. I'm trying to make Kevin care about a fight card he don't care
about. And I don't. And I frankly, I don't.
That's all right. They can't all be winners. Can't win them all.
Yeah. Well, and you can look at it another way and go, oh, well, maybe it justifies your subscription for Fight Pass. No. I'd rather Fight Pass be around for the really big events so I can see the opening prelims. So
now we might get lucky, and these like the last 3 fights kick off maybe around 5 o'clock. Because if it's at 11:30, that's when the Fight Pass prelims start. We got 12 fights here.
The whole thing's on Fight Pass, though.
Yeah, but I mean, if the I'm used to saying Fight Pass prelims, but
I thought actually the main card starts at 11:30 a.m.
No, it says the actions begin live from London at 1:30 Eastern, 11:30 here. So that would be the Lena Landsberg fighting Lucy Pudliova card.
Yeah, there we go.
But those last 3 fights could come on at the time we're used to actually starting to watch fights. Maybe.
Maybe. Well, we'll see. I don't know.
Because hopefully like 8 of those fights go decision. Eat up all that time.
Like I said, April 5th, that's going to be the next one, and we'll have to start getting ready.
April 8th.
Or 8th, I mean. That's the one we'll have to start getting ready for. So that means we got like basically 3 weeks of no UFC. And
we're just going to have to start covering Bellator.
Oh, make me
Bellator fight tonight? We got to look at that shit.
Make me care. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. It's been a fun little St. Patty's Day, and Brandon and I are going to get wrecked. And
yes. My blood calls to me.
Don't you have a Spanish surname?
I do. But when I pull out my Ancestry.com papers, it shows that the Spanish blood is far inferior to the Irish blood running through my veins.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, you heathens. We appreciate you joining us this week. Hopefully we did some justice to this podcast. We'll carry on
and
next week.
I forgot how to say it, but forgot to say it in Gaelic, but it's health of the salmon, large penis, and death in Ireland. If I remember that in Gaelic, it'd be fucking amazing. I'd guarantee I'd be getting laid tonight by something.
So, if you were in Ireland,
yeah. Yeah, everyone here just be like, oh, gibbery talk, you on the meth. Cool.
All right,
Aaron, go bra, everybody.
Aaron, go bra.